Howdy, howdy. We are live on a Friday night with one final Season 1 episode to discuss for Star Trek Starfleet Academy this year. I have Taylor here with me. So we've closed out the first season, the freshman year for these cadets. How did they do? How did they finish things off? Let's dive into that right now. I see there's already some people chatting in the live audience, so let's get this show started. I'm Fatheree.
I'm Miss Taylor.
And this is Tex-Trek.
Engage.
Welcome back aboard the Starship Texas for the 370th installment of the Tex-Trek podcast, the home of Star Trek fandom from deep in the heart of Texas, where we take a deep look at Star Trek, old and new. Tonight, we are discussing Star Trek Starfleet Academy, Season 1, Episode 10, the season finale. That I can't remember the name of. Rubincon. Yeah, their made-up word, Rubincon. So this episode was written by Alex Kurtzman and Kirsten Beyer, story by Noga, Landau and Gaia, Violo, directed by the Star Trek director everyone loves because he did such a great job with the Section 31 movie, Olatunde Osunsanmi. I say that kind of jokingly, but this is a very Tunde episode. I see his fingerprints all over it with some of the crazy camera work, and I think that there was actual drone footage for some of those drone camera shots in the trial scene. I think were they actually flying drones around the set to shoot that. So
it is big enough, as you say.
Yeah, it's the biggest standing set for any Star Trek TV show ever. So certainly possible. Before we start unpacking this finale, I just want to give a big thank you and shout out to the Tex-Trek Patreons who make our show possible. So thank you so very much, Starfleet Sohel, Cake is Eternal, Crazy Dutchy, John Daw, Geek Filter, Quarks Bar, Matthew Averett, Braxton, Chuck A, Joel Vallis, Arthur Lamoureux, our associate producer, Chris Garris, Dave Farabee, Dave A. Gregory, Wanda Valentine, Rin, Corrine, Victor, Jerbear, and our anonymous supporters. And I just want to remind everyone that we've recently updated the Tex-Trek Patreon perks earlier this year. So if you are interested in supporting, please go check that out. And we appreciate you coming in at whatever tier you can help out at. But we have some perks and some goodies we're sending out this year. So all that out of the way, there's not really a lot of news to talk about this week before we go into our main topic of this Starfleet Academy season finale. I guess I should say that we're not doing a Paramount Problem segment in this week's show when I complain about something I don't really like going on in the corporate world of Star Trek and Star Trek's owners now, Larry Ellison and his Nepo baby son, Dave Ellison. But I feel like I gotta say something just because we are at a bit of a troubling time politically, globally, economically, with a new war being propagandized to us in our media. I got a comment that today, Secretary of War in the United States, we don't call it the Defense Department anymore, it's the War Department. I think the Department of War Crimes would be more accurate, since we, are blowing up elementary school kids in other countries and whatnot, and waging an illegal war. And He did say today, though, I heard Pete Hegseth, or Pete Kegsbreath, as that alcoholic should probably be referred to. Not a very good guy. But he said Larry Ellison cannot take over CNN soon enough. So that is that is deeply troubling to me. That the owners of Star Trek are willing to produce state media for our fascist moronic regime currently running the show here. So I kind of just, I'm in a bad mood at Paramount right now, and kind of wish I had prepared something to rant and rave on, but just reminds me to focus more on that in the future going forward. But we can focus on this episode of Academy for the next hour or so. Taylor, will you help me recap the events of Rubincon by reading the synopsis, and then I'll kind of expand on that with some spoilers.
Cool. When an old enemy resurfaces as an existential threat to the Federation, Nahla must outwit a vengeful foe with a personal vendetta against her. As our cadets and instructors undertake a dangerous, seemingly impossible mission to save everyone and everything they hold dear.
Yeah, so the old enemy that resurfaced was, of course, none other than our Season 1 big bad Noose Bracca. At least I think he's just in Season 1. Paul Giamatti hasn't said anything about shooting Season 2 or anything, so... But we get the big confrontation between Anisha Mir and Nahla Ake and Noose Bracca there, kind of trying to weaponize that conflict to his advantage. But... ultimately, they expose Noose Bracca as this kind of phony leader that the rest of the galaxy shouldn't unite behind, and call him out for holding the Federation hostage, and what kind of liberator would take hostages and all of that, and I guess ultimately just kind of exposing Paul Giamatti as a lame villain who's dealt with. But I guess the bigger thing than this episode is the kids all get a chance to shine and save the Federation at the end of their freshman year at the Academy. So good for them. Impressive. I know a lot of people have been fatigued in recent years of modern Star Trek doing these big high stakes, kind of like, the whole Federation or the whole galaxy or whatever, like billions, trillions of lives on the line. But I think this one actually worked quite well, to be honest. I do have some issues with the episode, but Taylor, I'll let you give the first opening statement and just kind of say your broad thoughts on the episode before we go into the episode breakdown.
Yeah, I think it was good. I don't know if you want to read that first, actually.
Sure. Well, just real quick, Taylor, before you get started on that, this super chat from Matthew Averett. Thank you so much, Matt, for the $5 super chat. And he goes on to say, Rachel and her co-host were awesome with first reactions. Well, thank you. I think they were awesome, too. That's kind of like the only other... I haven't been following any other podcast or YouTube videos or anything talking about Academy, so they're kind of the only other people I hear talk about it, but... and then Matthew goes on to say, I thank them for that. Fatheree and Miss Taylor are the best. Love you guys. Well, that's debatable if we're the best. But, I don't know. Thank you for the super chat. I'm not going to argue with you. But that is most certainly appreciated, Matthew. But Taylor, if you will give us your opening statement, please.
I like the smaller episodes where we're focusing on characters individually more than the big fight stuff. So I was kind of bummed with the season finale just because it feels overdone. Like, it feels very rinse and repeat. I feel like I've seen like similar issues where it's like, we have to overthrow this person and then we have to work together, and then these kids with little experience just figure it out. I will say, like, the best part of the whole episode for me was Jet Reno being in charge of the cadets on the Athena during the rescue mission. I think that was my favorite part, especially considering that she came off of that one, like, the Discovery found her like in survival mode for so long. I think she was like the perfect person to be like the survival mode, teaching the cadets all this stuff. So but yeah, I think it was good. I don't think it was it definitely wasn't my favorite episode. And I'm hoping that they kind of drop this like really big overarch plot thing for season 2. Like I think I like Starfleet Academy more when it's episodic.
Yeah, I mean, I strongly agree with that. One of my favorite aspects of the show is that it did do the Strange New Worlds thing. It was like, oh yeah, we're going to tell done-in-one stories that can be self-contained to a single episode with a satisfying beginning, middle, and end, something that Star Trek was famous for. So that was the part of the big backlash, Taylor. I know it was before you became a Trekkie, before you found your way where you've always belonged in this fandom. But in season 1 of Discovery, that was a big learning curve for a lot of the Trek audience, was having to accept these season 1 arcs that, you know, like even like when Deep Space Nine or Enterprise did serialized storytelling, they would still drop in a lot of done-in-one episodes. And
One
you know,
and done.
Well, one and done, done in one, whatever. I think it works both ways. You're done within one episode, or you're one episode and done. So yeah, you can say one and done or done in one. It doesn't matter. But I don't know. It doesn't help that I speak with my natural slur. That you know, great voice for a podcaster, but it just makes it harder for people to tell when I'm drinking or not. However, the done-in-one episodes were not a thing in Discovery Season 1. It was like, I have to watch like this entire 15-episode season to get the full story. So it was nice that Academy chose to, okay, even though we're going to do like a big arc, we're still going to tell a lot of satisfying individual, singular episode stories. But yeah, my least favorite aspect of the show that I've largely liked, I've been surprised at how much I like it, but my least favorite aspect is the Noose Braca arc, and I don't like him as the big bad. I was honestly frustrated with a lot of this episode. I kind of went into it unsure if I was going to like it, so the trial stuff really rubbed me the wrong way. I just think it was such a missed opportunity to tell I don't know, a better story. But the idea of, like, Noose Braca as this, he's like this dumb guy who's just like this dumb, poor refugee who, you know, it's not that the Federation treated him wrong, it's that like he just misunderstood, and he had like this warped view from childhood on, and he used that to harness a lot of other people's frustrations at the establishment, and framing the establishment as like this bad thing that everyone else has to team up on to take down. And I don't know, I thought it was just kind of a lame villain. I was a lame bad guy. Like, we've seen a lot of that, and I'm just, I wasn't really in a mood for a story of, like, look how good the status quo is, look how benign the establishment inherently is. I prefer Star Trek that can be a bit more self-critical, that can be like, well, I don't know, is there validity to criticizing the Federation, and in which ways should the Federation grow and improve, and I think that would be a bit of a better story to tell in this day and age, especially. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll frame it this way. One of my favorite, I guess, political commentators, you would call him, but the late great Michael Brooks passed away young a few years ago. But I was a big fan of his writing. I was a big fan of his speaking, and one thing that he taught me is this phrase, be kind to individuals and be ruthless towards systems. And so I kind of would have preferred if the season 1 arc dealing with these post-burn issues with the Federation, I kind of would have liked if it had vilified a system and not so much an individual. I kind of would have preferred that story, but so it was a big missed opportunity with a lame villain and a lame conclusion to a story arc. But I did love a lot of the character moments. I loved Teacher Jet Reno giving the kids the lesson of their life with their lives on the line. Yeah. And so I'm very looking forward to seeing more of that stuff in season 2. I'm just hoping that they don't do a big season 2 arc that tries to outdo the Venari Raw arc, and they lean more into this this big stakes, big villain, all of that type stuff. I think that might be not something I'm as interested in as, like, I don't know, the Sam and the Doctor go to Cask and live out a childhood while everyone else performs Our Town. I love that shit. So, give me that. Give me Jaden speaking up for his Klingon people. Give me that stuff. That's what I want to see in season 2. Not Venari Raw arcs, but
yeah.
Let's hit our episode breakdown, starting with the very beginning, and we'll just run through this whole thing beat by beat. But the episode opens where the last episode dropped off. We had that cliffhanger ending last week with the Athena being blocked out of the Federation, all the other Starfleets trapped inside. But we get that flashback trial. They reference season 1 when Anisha Mir was put on trial by Nahla Ake and sentenced to prison. And then we cut to Anisha Mir waking up in the Doctor's sickbay and being mad as hell that her least favorite person in the universe, Nahla Ake, is person that she probably thinks about all the time and how much she hates her, is standing in front of her. Mm-hmm. So it was fun looking forward to this moment. They're finally gonna meet, so here we go. But I don't know, what did you think of their that interaction of Nahla Ake being usually I would just be like, hey, here's a shuttlecraft, go about your life, take your kid with you if he wants to go, but she kind of wanted to be a little bit more I don't know, kind of make up to Anisha. I understand your frustrations a little bit, but what do you think?
I think it was good. I think my favorite part was when she was just pointing at her and saying, no, like she's shutting her down so quick.
There's something kind of real about that. That's that's kind of a real
she's at a loss for words. Yeah. She's I'm so angry right now. The only word I can say is no. It sucks. Yeah. I think Ake is kind of man, we really have to figure this out quickly and in uncomfortable situations. This is already uncomfortable, but we also are about to be boarded by the Venari Raw. So we're gonna have to figure this out quick.
But the good news is that those mines had not detonated yet. We were a little confused last week. I was kind of under the impression that they'd already done something. Because they were saying that they can't cross that space, but. Okay, the reason why they can't cross it is because if you get too close to those mines, to the energy fields they've set up, that will activate them. And that activation is what will kill people. So, trying to avoid that. Of course, they mentioned the Discovery. We were wondering about that last week. Is Disco going to jump in? I said, I don't think it will. And it didn't. It does show up in the episode towards the end as just a visual in one of the ship shots. So... But we finally have Laura Thok back on the show briefly. Mm-hmm. She shows up in 2 scenes, actually has dialogue in 1. Yeah, it's this whole second half of the season really did not have hardly any Laura Thok.
I know, I miss her so much. I want more of her in season 2. I want a whole episode dedicated to her, actually. Let's go with that.
Let's go see her Klingon Jem'Hadar family or something.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. So that it would be one of the advantages of having the longer seasons, like the old days. I know a lot of people pine for those. I think it would be really hard to pull that off, doing 26 episodes a year again. But, it'd be fun to have those character-centric things. It's just, who's going to pay for that,
Yeah.
Larry Ellison ain't going to. But... what else happens here? The Admiral Vance, he says that 160 billion people will die if these mines go off, and because they are sensitive to subspace. A mycelial network jump from the disco might set it off. But the Athena ends up being attacked by the Venari Raw, and Reno has to hide the cadets in the airlock when Noose Braca and his thugs beam in. So they're using that airlock trick they established last week, which I kind of liked that. I thought it was a good idea to... that was kind of subtle. I didn't see that as something that would obviously come back, but it's oh yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, and I like that the kids suggested that. They're the ones who figured it out. That's kind of the contribution of theirs.
Yeah. It was, and Ake even gives Jaden and Tamira credit for it. The design flaw. But I like the conversations in the airlock real quick. Like Jaden and Caleb have a brief moment, really quick and efficient. But he quotes his line from earlier in the season: "A warrior does not let a friend face danger alone." They have their brotherly hug.
Mm-hmm.
And then Caleb's about to apologize for all of the mean things he said on Ukek, and Genesis is like, "You're wasting your breath." And ours, because Reno's like, don't talk too much, you're gonna run out of air. But yeah, it was kind of like her saying like, you don't need to apologize, like we already know. And also,
I took it the other way. I think that
so
she's
you took
still
it as
upset.
like she's permanently mad.
No, not that she's permanently mad, but she's like, it's too soon and we're not doing it here.
So it's not that she's permanently mad, but she's like, I'm willing to discuss that, but you're wasting your breath on me right now. I do not want to hear it, and also you're going to use up our oxygen.
Yeah, I think she was still upset, but
Okay.
yeah. Like, I think she's gonna, like, obviously she's willing to forgive him, and he does get the opportunity later in the episode to forgive them all, or ask for their forgiveness, kind of.
Yeah.
But, no, yeah, in this scene she was definitely still pissy, and I think rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, he was trying to say the most hateful things possible. But Nus Braca beams in, and Paul Giamatti starts having fun, chewing the scene, being like, of course, it was always going to be me in this chair. Over-the-top villain, hammy stuff. He sees the Doctor and Reno and Ake on the bridge, and so he asks, like, there were some Federation people running around on Ukek. One of them was a hologram, and it is kind of a convincing story, like, yeah, that was us. And he's like, bullshit, you people never travel light. Where's the whole crew that would be on the ship? And she's like, well, no one else. I couldn't risk anyone else coming here to find Caleb Mears' mom, so it's just me and these two. And it's like, well, I guess that kind of makes sense, I wouldn't think he would have any reason to be like, I don't know, maybe you're hiding cadets in your airlock or something. So, but he says, what does he say? 3 Federation stooges and a ghost when he sees Anisha Mir. She's the ghost. And enemy-in-laws, he was really proud of that one.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the big moment here was the Doctor having the hero moment with the mobile emitter from Voyager. Ake tells him, leap clear of all that is corporeal and make yourself greater. Which to me, I think that sounds like y'all might be trying to pull a fast one on us. But,
yeah.
again, Paul Giamatti said he played Nus Braca as if he was drunk most of the time, so maybe that's a little bit of his carelessness, is just be like, that's academic bullshit. No one cares about that book shit.
I liked that line, because I say that to them sometimes when we're watching. I'm like, another Shakespeare quote.
Yeah, like Picard starts quoting Archimedes or something, and you're just like, all this, like, scholarly bullshit. The mobile emitter, though, it does the trick that the Doctor pulled in Basics Part 1, way back in Season 2 of Voyager, with the holographic deception, with the using the ship's deflector, but they make it appear that the saucer, the Athena, blows up in this epic explosion. They don't do the usual title sequence with the opening credits this week. They just do, like, that little title card on screen. They really tried to make it bookend Episode 1, which also had something similar to that. They were trying to parallel that episode a lot here. But I thought that was a pretty cool effect, how they show the explosion, then the camera pushes in, and you see, like, the holographic illusion, and then the real ship, which is still pretty banged up. Like, the bridge is on fire, but it's just not blowed up.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked that, too. I also liked that we followed the title words into the hologram, like that kind of like fades out past the hologram.
It's very cinematic, it's very dynamic. Yeah. But it was cool. I was happy to finally see the mobile emitter too, because I was like wondering, like, does he still have that thing? So, even it looks a little different, but you know, it's been centuries since last we saw. And actually, someone else pointed this out to me, but the mobile emitter was originally, I think, from the 28th or 29th century. So it's actually not even that modern of technology by the 32nd century, you know, even though it's supposed to be something really advanced in Voyager. It's like a super antique now. But yeah, the Doctor is back from his holographic illusion, but he's just he basically he's like that DS9 episode Babel, where he can't speak words correctly. Like when he starts talking about Ruben will tango, parrot shoes to the mango patch, and stuff like that, and glue on the shoe and all of that.
This, like, super made me worried it was going to trigger a migraine, because that's how it is when I get a migraine and I can't remember words, and I'm, like, saying what I think are the right words, and then people are like, I don't understand what you're saying. And this is how it sounds like when people talk to me, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. So it felt like to me, like, oh, the Doctor has a migraine dialogue.
Yeah, but some type of holographic malfunction. It takes them a while to deal with it, but I don't know. I kind of like the glitching effects they do on him. It's kind of disturbing to see that. But when we go on to talk about what happens next, we should talk about all the stuff with Reno and the kids on the Athena. And then we can talk about the trial New Spraka puts on for his cable news viewers in the Venari Roll Empire. It's another thing that made me mad last week. They called the Venari Roll an empire. It's like, why does everything have to be an empire in Star Trek? You have, like, the Klingon Empire, the Romulan Star Empire. The Andorians had an Imperial Guard, so I guess the Andorians were an empire at one point. Occasionally they call it the Cardassian Union, but occasionally they call it the Cardassian Empire. But yeah, the Venari Roll are empire too. Why not? But Reno taking command of the ship and teaching the kids to go rescue Ake and Caleb's mom, Anisha. You said that this was your favorite part.
Yeah, for sure. I liked everyone taking stations, and I like that they kind of give pushback, because they're still kind of like we saw them fail the simulation with her, and she's like, "Congrats, you're all dead." And so it's cool to like see a successful one. But I like that they're kind of short, and she has to kind of make them walk through the decisions. I think that's really good teaching etiquette. Like, it's very easy to just be like upset and be like, well, this is why. Instead she's like, well, why don't you sit and think about it? You know?
Yeah, you like your teaching technique. But it was probably easy to keep everyone calm and everyone like level-headed and able to work and do their task by just like keeping things as normal as possible. Just sticking to their normal like teacher-student rhythms, you know? It's like
keep the dynamic.
Yeah.
Help them be focused on something besides just the stress of their situation.
Yeah, because like they know how to do this stuff in a classroom setting, so she's just like maintaining that classroom setting. You know, like she's like shooting straight with them. Like she reminds them, like like the stakes of this. Like if you fail, we're all gonna die. But
right.
As far as it's like in guiding them, it's the first time we ever see Jet Reno in command, right?
That I remember.
And we both liked that line, we learn more when things go wrong than when things go right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
you don't forget. You don't forget when you have to fix something or you put yourself in a stupid situation.
Yeah. Like when you're doing like a project by yourself and you go to Home Depot and you end up having to like buy like a whole bunch of different tools and parts and stuff. But then you're like, but I've learned so much that if I ever have to do this again, I know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that kind of thing. But yeah, we see all of the kids take a station on the bridge. So who do we have here with the assignments? Daryl is on the helm. Terima appears to be on communications, right? So I think they're going to do her on the communications career path. She's going to go on that track. They don't really have communications officers very often after the original series, but I guess, Gwendala in Prodigy kind of started off as the communications officer and then became the captain, so maybe that's going to be the Terima route, or at least the communications side of it.
Yeah. What was Caleb's role? I wasn't 100%
engineer.
Sure.
Is he engineer? He
okay.
goes to do the engineering repairs with Reno. So that's something that I brought up a couple of times. Like, they make him so Kirk-like that we think he's going to be a captain, but he's so good with the programmable matter. It's like, I don't know, maybe he's an engineer kid.
Well, he could always be an engineer and eventually becomes a captain.
Yeah,
wasn't
true.
Scotty a captain at one point?
He was, but he was never, in command of a ship. But you can do that. In the Star Trek Voyager episode Timeless, where we see Geordi LaForge as captain of the USS Challenger in an alternate future. So there's definitely a precedent for starting off as an engineer and then becoming a commanding officer.
Yeah. I think it would be, how there's kind of a running joke where Billups and Scotty get all protective of when people mock their ship.
Yeah.
I think it would be kind of fun to see Caleb be like, "What'd you say about Athena?"
Yeah, that becomes
I could see him rolling up his sleeves.
But it's weird because in this show, the ship is a school and the school is a ship.
Yeah, even more of a reason for him to protect it. That's his home.
But I guess if you like your school, a lot of people probably don't like their school, but
this is his first home. They talk about that at the end of this
true.
too.
He seems to truly love Starfleet.
And we have we have Darum on helm.
Yeah.
And Jaden in medical, and Sam is...
she's in medical with her dad, and then ends up on the bridge helping with the algorithm to take down the mines and neutralize the Omega-47 so that the mines won't blow up.
I was just wondering if we had, a station kind of for her.
So I think that Sam is also a candidate for chief engineer, but, one of these kids could be ops. Like Data and Harry Kilm, because we're not really sure what the ops position is. It's just when you need an extra guy on the bridge. The reason why the ops position got invented is because Gene Roddenberry didn't like how Brent Spiner's yellow eyes looked in a blue science uniform on TNG. So he was like, "Oh, let's just put him in a gold shirt, and instead of saying he's the science officer, we'll say he's the operations officer."
Oh, okay. Well, I could see Sam...
It opened up a position on Voyager for Harry Kilm.
Yeah. I think that would actually make a lot of sense for Sam, because she's very, strong in a lot of different areas. So it gives her the opportunity to float more.
Yeah. But I don't know. She's also a digital entity. She could become the ship's computer, I guess. The Doctor kind of does a little bit here. I'd like to see Sam as chief engineer, but I kind of want to see Caleb as chief engineer now. So maybe, how on the Cerritos in season 5, there's 2 chief science officers with Tindy and T'Lyn, and then they do that with Mariner and Boimler. They both become first officers. They're co-first officers. Maybe we can have Sam and Caleb be co-chief engineers.
Nice. And then I know Genesis has the con at one point, but I wasn't 100%, because I know Darum is at the helm, so she's kind of also at the helm.
Yeah, it's confusing because sometimes in Star Trek they say you have the con when you have the captain's chair. You're in command of the bridge. That was kind of more of a 23rd century phrasing. They say that in the Wrath of Khan, Mr. Savick, you have you have the con, but. Then by the time you get to the 24th century, where they don't have a helmsman and a navigator, they just have a helmsman. A lot of times they call that the con officer. A lot of people refer to Tom Paris as the con officer. Okay. But if you're on the Voyager bridge and Janeway says, "Chakotay, you have the con," that would be an order to sit in the captain's chair and start commanding, not go to the helmsman station and start driving. But yeah, that is confusing. It's because Star Trek
Cool.
picks and chooses what Navy jargon it wants to have and what it does. It's like sometimes in Star Trek you call whoever is sitting in the captain's chair captain, regardless of their rank. But apparently not this time, because Caleb gets in trouble for doing that when everyone else says "I, Commander," and then Reno's like, "Not a captain." But it's like, well, but sometimes you do that in Star Trek. Sometimes they even like make a point of saying that in Deep Space Nine. It's like, oh yeah, that's the old tradition. Anyone in the seat is called captain when they're in command, which is what the real life Navy does. If you're a lieutenant commander but you're in command of a ship, like the people serving under you address you as captain, as far as I know. But yeah, Genesis is I guess like that's the role we're supposed to assume goes to her in this episode. Is she's in the command station. She gets the big seat.
Yeah.
And so I think this joke. Well, I'll take that back. It landed with some people last night on the Tex-Trek First Reaction stream, and it did not land with others.
It didn't land for me. Yeah.
Yeah, when her like a big captain phrase instead to go to warp is I have to go pee, but the reason why it bothered me, I think that's actually kind of a good gag to be like, oh yeah, you know, we used to always complain about how in Star Trek they never talk about going to the bathrooms and what are their toilets like. It was just kind of nice to hear like a character say that they have to go pee, and just like remind us like, oh yeah, there must be a bathroom close to the bridge. But I just don't like that they put a joke there to undercut the sincere moment. I was like, it just comes off as kind of cowardly sometimes. Like, it's okay to have just like a serious, sincere moment. Like, this is a important thing to the character. Yeah, like just let her have a moment.
Yeah, let her breathe that in and have like they could have used a different joke. Like they could have said like,
well, I wouldn't have used a joke at all. I just would have had a joke at a different part of the episode. But I think that should have been like a serious moment.
Yeah, I agree. I did not like that. And I thought it was weird because it's like... Actually, never mind. I don't know if I can finish that thought. But no, I didn't like that at all. I think I turned to look at you and was like, eye roll.
But I would have taken the joke anywhere else. I just kind of wanted the Genesis to have like a serious, sincere moment, you know.
It bothered me more that it was like a bodily function joke than it was a joke. Does that make sense?
No, because that part to me feels realistic. It's like, oh yeah, like a lot of times, like when you get up and move around, you're like, oh yeah, I need to go to the restroom first, or I'm gonna have to be here on the bridge in command for a while. I should have gone to the restroom before I got over here, you know. Like that part made sense to me. I just didn't want to joke right then and there.
Yeah, okay.
It just does that undercut the serious moment thing. That's like, you don't always have to do that. Sometimes it's okay, just like let something be sincere. To me, it comes off as like, oh, you're scared this will come off as too corny if you take this seriously, so you need to undercut it with something funny.
Yeah, I think it also sucks because she deserves to have her satisfying moment. Like, we saw her sit in the captain's chair before and, like, didn't earn it, and she was, like, not scared about it, but, like, you know, she was there trying to get the coding or whatever. So, yeah, like, this would have been, like, a really nice bookend for that feeling for her. And I feel like for me, it was, like you said, undercut, and I think it, like, devalues her in this moment.
But yeah, not a big deal, but I just wanted to set the record straight on where we landed on that, since it was a bit of a talking point. Let's talk about that heart-to-heart moment between Jet Reno and Caleb when they're doing the engineering repairs. It looks like they're in like the same set that they used for the airlock. It's just like an intersection of their corridors. But I can forgive it because, okay, they're on the saucer section. So somewhere in that atrium, there's got to be a badass engineering section, like a badass engine room, 32nd century technology. But here is just like this is like the little engineering closet on the saucer section. Just kind of makes me miss the days when we used to actually see engineering in Star Trek. Because you know how Strange New Worlds, they never go to engineering anymore either because it's too hard to do with the AR wall. So they just hang out in that lab set instead.
Yeah.
But anyways, they're doing the repairs in here, and I like this conversation between Reno and Caleb. You remember how I kind of complained about that classroom moment earlier in the season when she's like, "Tell me who you are."
Yeah, I liked that part. Yeah, I liked her calling out his shit.
Have you
And
ever
this
made
is
a
like-
mixed tape?
Yeah, that was really funny. I liked this scene a lot too. I like her teaching him that, you know, he like a kind of life of the stars again. You got to carry the big moments and still push through the mundane things. And I don't know. Like I think she in this episode especially, like I was kind of like expecting throughout the season that Laura Thok would become like a bigger character. And, like, I wasn't expecting to actually get Jet Reno to become a bigger character. Like, as the season went on, we got more and more of her. And I'm not mad about it. I think she does a really good job teaching these kids. But I do like that when she's, like, she's kind of like, oh, man, I'm sorry. I don't remember exactly what he said, but she's like, oh, cue the violins or something. Like, she's still got her, like, dry sass about it, but, like, it's still very realistic. And sincere.
Okay, that sounds a little better now, thanks.
Oh.
Sorry, just making some mic adjustments. But yes, we are live.
But yeah, my last thought on this is I liked that whenever he says 0.86, right where it's supposed to be, she gives him like finger guns, like he's also right where he's supposed to be. She's like, now you get it. Like, he's in line.
Yeah, I like that. And, like, he needed to... Like, it was good for the audience to see, like, oh, he is guilty and he feels bad. And then, you know, just so we can kind of forgive him for being a dickhead to the other characters that we like in the last episode. But then Reno to kind of be like, oh, but you shouldn't beat yourself up because it was pretty cool that you went back and saved them. So that's why Genesis is ready to forgive him, Taylor. Like he came back, like, sure, he said like a lot of mean things to her, but then like him and his mom came back and saved her life. So
I'm sorry, there's some comments referring to a staticky loudness of my mic, and I just reduced some of the gain. I don't know if that's better.
Yeah, it's hard for me to tell because it must sound different to me than it sounds on YouTube or wherever else we're streaming to.
Okay, I'll go a little bit more down and see how this goes. How's this? Sorry, we're testing. We're having mic issues every week, it seems. Okay. Thanks, guys. All right, sorry, continue. I didn't mean to interrupt.
So the doctor does this, or I should say, so Jaden does this defragmentation on the doctor to correct his program, I guess. He's still speaking gibberish. That didn't do the trick. Jaden doesn't really know what he's doing. You know, he's like, man, I signed up to be a medical Klingon, not a hollow engineer Klingon. But Genesis has this cool moment with Sam. One of the things I kind of regret is we didn't see enough Sam 2.0 after she comes back with her new memories and stuff. We didn't really get to compare and contrast how she's changed to her old self and what the differences and what the similarities are, you know? I another time when I say, like, this show could have used another episode this season, it would have been nice to have a little bit more time with that. So I feel like we're kind of speed running the Sam arc to make it fit in here. But it was nice to see her and Genesis just like Sam just vocalize her frustrations to Genesis, like, yeah, I used to be this little naive puppy dog, and that was a good friend for you, but, you know, I'm not that same person, and I need you to acknowledge that I'm different. And I love how quickly Genesis is like, well, I love the person that you are now, the Sam that's here. I don't like that, like, total acceptance. I thought that was kind of a cool thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what something to kind of compare that to in real life, but, like, if you've gone through like if you've just gone through something, either through trauma or or just like you've grown and learned, or like you feel like you're a different person, and your friend from the past is like, I accept this new you.
Can I may be out of line here, but I feel like Genesis didn't do anything that we saw to create this conflict. In my opinion, it's a lot of Sam like re-watching under a new lens how she used to act, and not necessarily like Genesis actually feeling like Sam was ever like her puppy dog. You know what I mean?
Sam is embarrassed of the memories of their old friendship. Is that what it is? And
that's what it sounds like to me. Like that there's times where Sam feels like Genesis was like almost like mean girling her is what it kind of sounds like they're trying to make it sound like. But I just haven't really seen any of Genesis being like that to her especially, but to anyone really in Starfleet Academy. And so I think it's weird, like we get so much like Genesis hate, and I feel like it's totally uncalled for.
Who's hating her? It's just Sam here, right?
Yeah, but also like Darum calls her judgy Genesis.
Well,
and
he
then
was drunk
like
when he said that. I
know,
don't think that was meant to be taken seriously.
Well, I mean, they say that drunk words are sober thoughts or whatever. But, yeah, I don't know. I enjoy, like, Sam having the growth and, like, her having conflict. But I feel like this conflict specifically was a little forced. Like, I didn't really see where Sam was completely getting this, like, issue with Genesis. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess it's just more of like Genesis is just going about everything as normal, and Sam is like, oh, I don't want to be like that same person anymore. Mm-hmm. So I guess she wants to just like have a moment to verbalize that and just, you know, talk about it out loud, and I don't know. But yeah, it is. I guess it is kind of weird to be frustrated with Genesis like that. Yeah, people are just shouldn't give Genesis as much shit as they give her on this show.
I feel a little protective of her in this episode. I feel like it was unnecessary. But yeah, I love Sam so much, and I do feel like a little bit. Maybe this is more towards the audience and not necessarily towards Genesis, but like Sam 2.0 hasn't been as like easy to jump right on, like into, and I think agree with you. Like it should have been like fleshed out more, and we should have had like an episode where we saw Sam 2.0 like in a bigger story where it's more Sam focused. But I feel like I'm not as like connected to Sam anymore. Like she's not as there's a few moments I still feel like, oh yeah, this is the Sam I know and love, but like I think honestly, like, this could have even just been, like, something to point out as, like, an audience member. To me, it's actually, she's not mad at Genesis. She's mad at Taylor for being like, oh, you're sad that Sam's not here to make jokes and be cute.
Yeah,
and overtly excited.
I do miss the younger, bubbly, more sugared up Sam, but Joanne in the live audience brings up a good point. She says, I mean, Sam died, and I think just wants an acknowledgement that things are not the same. And I get that. That makes sense to me. If your best friend Genesis is just, you know, walks up to you and is like, hey, buddy, how you doing today? And you're like, I don't feel like that same person that you used to, you know, chat with like that. I guess I'd never really accepted it as like, this is a different Sam, but I guess maybe it is. It just seems weird to me that they would undo that big arc with the Cisco episode. And like, so like that whole like bonding she had with Tawny Newsom's character with Professor Isla Dax, like, does she not feel that connection to Isla Dax anymore? Like, does she not feel like she's like the emissary anymore? Like, that's just kind of weird to undo that highlight of the season to me.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it would be more like she's gonna retain her old memories and like also her new memories, but she would be able to like kind of merge more. But it seems definitely like I think Joanna's right. Like Sam 1, I guess, died, and so this is Sam 2.0. Like this actually is a different character. Maybe it's that's like, wasn't clicking in my brain as much.
It's like Sam 2.0, but like you have like the memories or like the katra, to use a Star Trek term, of Sam 1.0. It's like it's still in your head.
Yeah, this is like version 2.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like she's had a system update. All right, I will allow it, but I was a little sad that her and Genesis were fighting a lot. I'm glad that they figured it out, and then they came back together stronger, which I'm happy about, and got to bond over the ancient language again. Big old nerds.
But, yeah, while they're talking about language stuff, Jaden figures out, like, oh, these words that are nonsense, but they mean something to each other. What if the doctor is actually trying to tell us something with his nonsense words? That was a bit forced, but they figure out that what he's actually talking about is Rubin particles and gluons. He is trying to explain how to stabilize the omega particles and neutralize Nous Bracca's minds. So now that they figured that out, Sam has to come up with an algorithm that will actually do that. And we get more teacher Jet Reno get their they're doing the academic thing, like quoting Da Vinci, and I do like that quote, "Science is the captain, practice the soldiers." I'm not really sure what that means, but it sounds cool. But in order to get the exact coordinates of where Nous Bracca is, Terima and Caleb have to mind speak and lock on to Caleb's mom from his mind. I liked the stuff, but what did you think of it?
Some of it I liked. They had me up until he goes, do you know how the whales, like, navigated the whole ocean? And she goes, echolocation. And I was like, oh my God, I hate this. I was like, is she going to scream into the ocean like she screamed in that one episode? She's going to scream into space.
Taylor, you love marine biology. I feel like they put that in there just for you.
Okay, but this is totally different in a Betazoid mind speak.
Alex Kurtzman listens to our content, like.
Okay.
It wouldn't be the first time they did something just for our show.
Oh, right.
But
that made me laugh. It did when she said echolocation. I was like, no.
But okay, this actually, I'm more okay with some of the earlier Terima stuff, because, like, remember how I thought it was so weird that, like, her Betazoid telepathy was also kind of sound based, where, like, she blew out the auditory lobe of her dad's brain, and, like, her scream was, it felt like it was so loud that's what, like, hurt these aliens that were vulnerable to loud noises or whatever. But with her being the communications officer and also using, like, her telepathy to, like, find connections and also, like, find subspace frequencies and connect and communicate and all that stuff, it's like, okay, thematically that all does go together pretty. Even if, like, science-y, it might not be, like, one-to-one, the thematics all match. So that kind of made me like her character more. Like, it kind of, like, came together a lot more, makes more sense to me. And I think she's a good love interest for Caleb.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm not docking her and Caleb. I think some of her powers are a little silly. What my big fear was, and I'm so glad they did not do this, but when they said echolocation, I was like, is she literally gonna, like, find his mom by screaming out of, like, the airlock into the galaxy, like, after Nous Bracca did, like, like, get the vibrations back to know where his mom is? Like, I'm glad it was more of, like, it's the connection through the connection that she can figure that out.
Caleb. It's like she could, like, feel, like, the love with Caleb, and then she could feel, like, his love for his mom and, like, connect the dots. And,
but in my mind, that's not echolocation. But it's a little mycelium network too. Like, everything's connected.
It is. Like, multiple Star Trek writers have done shrooms together, I think, and they all feel connected. I don't know, but...
I liked all their sweet scenes with each other, and, like, do you trust me, and her being excited to take his hands, and then him, like, consenting to letting her, like, probe into his mom's memories, or his memories of his mom, and she's like, oh, are you gonna let me? Like, she was, like, excited about it. It was really sweet, and I liked their connection and them, like, kind of making up from, like, previous episodes. I'm, like, finally aligned, or they're finally aligned, and it makes me happy.
And Caleb saying that, he's willing to bet his life on Teresa, because like he's thinking like, man, she might make my brain explode like she did those other dudes in the Miyazaki episode. But he's like, you know what? Like I'm willing to take that risk. I trust her enough with my brain. So
this did trigger
when she takes that implant off. It's like, okay, people's brains can explode now. That is kind of scary.
Yeah, it did trigger a thought of when Troy was I don't remember which movie this was, and she was holding
Nemesis.
Worf's hand.
Star Trek Nemesis. She was trying to find Tom Hardy and Ron Perlman because they had telepathically gang raped her earlier in the movie.
Yeah, and she had like hold of Worf's hand and was like, so like that I liked that kind of like nod.
Yeah, I hated that arc being in that subplot being in Star Trek Nemesis, but it did have a satisfying conclusion when she gets revenge and she's like, remember me.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Troy had at one point a romantic connection to Worf, so they still had like enough of a bond. I think that was pretty cool too. I just kind of wish that they didn't do the weird rapey sequence earlier in that movie. But yeah, enough about that. The coolest part of this to me, though, or like the most like emotional part of this, is when Terima says "I love you too" to Caleb, because he never said "I love you." She just like read it in his mind. But that's a tricky thing that when writers are writing these romantic stories, like, okay, who says "I love you" first, and that always makes the other one, kind of seem not as loving, so they have to have like a really cool like "I love you too," like in Empire Strikes Back when Han says "I know," but some people think that sounds like he's kind of an asshole, but it's
I think it's a little bit of an asshole. Yeah.
But it's like no, like he always like he knew like he knew all along is basically what he's trying to say.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, that could also come off as like being like an out. But I don't know. I liked what they did here. I liked that. I love you too. That probably realistically would not be a very healthy relationship if you're like that inside one another's minds. But I think that's kind of cool. Maybe because like I grew up reading X-Men comics and like Scott Summers and Jean Grey, but like Cyclops and Jean Grey had this telepathic romance, and I always thought that would be cool to be so in love with someone that you just let them like give them like total range of your mind, just like all that I am. It's all for you. It's just I don't know. I tell Taylor all the time I want to mind meld with her, but it's probably for the best that we can't. But I liked this moment though. It was the most I think I've ever liked the Terima Caleb romance. I was unsure about it, but I can get behind the sappy shit sometimes. They got me now. I hope they don't mess it up.
One thing is, she did remove her inhibitor completely, so I'm interested to see if that comes back up in season 2. Like, will she put it back on if she doesn't need it in an extreme case, or will it always be off now? I'm curious to know.
Yeah, I think it would probably just be like, I only take it off when I need to go hardcore telepathy.
And also, very thankful to the Betazoid scientists for creating an inhibitor that doesn't come out like a nerve ending when she does turn it off. So, good upgrade.
Yeah, yeah, it looks way less painful to put on and off. So they locate Mama Mir, and then we get Jet Reno's go to warp catchphrase, "Now show me pretty streaks of light."
Yeah, love that.
Let's talk about the trial. This is my least favorite part of the episode. It's all right. Y'all heard me praise the growing
kids
of the students. Now y'all hear me bitch about the stuff I didn't like.
Yeah,
the
kind of
Rocka
same.
trial.
I think we don't like it for different reasons, so I'm curious.
Yeah, that's likely true, but let's discuss. I like the moment when Nahla Ake tells Anisha, like, hey, Caleb's alive, like, come give me, like, this awkward hug, but don't say anything. We have to keep this super secret, but it's important to me that you know that your son did not just blow up. As mother to mother, I need you to know that. And I thought that was such, like, a great little detail to include in there. Agree. But yeah, so we have like all these. The atrium is trashed because the show spent all of its money on this massive atrium set and some of these big heavyweight actors like Paul Giamatti and Remind me, She-Hulk. I can never remember her name. I'm
Is
so
it
sorry.
Tatiana
Maslany?
Maslany?
Yeah. Have I reached the point, like, I can't learn any more Star Trek actors? It's just like, I'm gonna hit that point eventually where just like, no new names. I can't handle it. But, yeah, they spent all this money hiring these actors and building this massive set. They're like, this is actually a bottle episode. They're only on the Athena. On 2 different parts of the Athena, but...
Yeah.
So the walls are all spray painted and tagged with graffiti of things like liberation and like, so that's kind of like, man, like, I don't know, like a lot of the, the radical revolutionaries, I don't really see them as like the villains of society these days. The people that are wanting to overthrow the status quo kind of have a point. I would prefer a story that was critical of institutions, so, which I think in the post-Burn Federation is a great place for that, but that's not what they wanted to do.
Okay, so this is my thing, is like there's good rebellions and there's also stupid ass ones, like the J6ers. So like, if you think about it in like a different...
But yeah, it is very right-wing coded. It is very Trump, very January 6th. Yeah, like Noose Braca is basically this... it's a lot of like right-wing populism, which I would say is not really actual populism. It's not populism unless you're talking about wealth disparity and how the millionaires and billionaires are ripping all the rest of us off, and there's huge wealth inequality that needs to be corrected. So any other type of populism is just like false populism from a liar, from a con man who's not actually going to do anything for you, which Noose Braca totally... embodies all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that, like, those people, like, the dangerous part in real world right now is those are the people running the show right now. So I feel like when they were writing this, a couple years ago, they were thinking like, oh, this will be our story about how when Kamala wins the election and then Donald Trump goes to prison because there's this massive case against him. And, according to federal prosecutors, if he had lost that election, he would be behind bars right now. But that's not the timeline we live in. I kind of feel like that was the timeline these writers were writing the show for.
Yeah. They're like, oh, this is going to hit so hard in 2026 when it airs.
But yeah, no. not so much.
Yeah, I liked the graffiti and, like, destruction of the atrium. I think that was actually pretty good change of visual for it being the same set. Like, it obviously just...
Yeah, you felt like it was took over.
Right, thank you.
And you also get a preview of what CNN is going to look like when the Ellisons complete their purchase of Discovery Warner. And you have this, I don't know, I guess this is just... something that plays in the Venali Roll territories. I didn't know that they would have like their own cable news network, but why not? Or is it like is it more authoritarian, like state media?
I don't know. Sorry, I got a little distracted by a name pronunciation request in the chat. Something is... Sorry.
Oh. I mispronounce a lot of names. Sorry. But
I did like the news stuff. It felt very... It was a little bit... Like, I don't want to say it was silly, but it was also kind of like this, is this really a serious rebellion? Like, he doesn't have a chance. Like, it's kind of what it felt like. Like, he's, like, announcing all these things and just, like, having his own little... We talk about this all the time in the Paramount Plus problems with Paramount section, where it's like, oh, well, all the media is controlled by one or two people. So, like, we're literally seeing that in Starfleet Academy.
Yeah, I was saying, like, I think, like, a lot of those drone news camera things, I'm curious if they were actually flying drones around this atrium to get some of these shots. Or, I don't know, maybe they did it all with, like, cranes and steady cams, but it looked like drone footage to me, which was, I don't know, just... It was kind of cool to have a set big enough you can show it off like that. But the annoying thing, I guess, from the story here was Noose Braca talking about his backstory. And, like, when I heard his backstory, he I don't know, he just seemed like a pretty lame villain. He's just like, he's all mad, he's all butthurt because his dad was too dumb and accidentally blew up his own colony. But he can't... he can't accept that when it's pointed out to him eventually. We got the tic-tac-toe explained, why he has the tic-tac-toe shaved in his head. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that was something we were dying to learn, but... okay, maybe they would not have... maybe he's not a very smart guy. That's why he's playing tic-tac-toe instead of, like, three-dimensional chess. Maybe the show is trying to be like... He keeps it simple. He plays on a very, like, simple, childlike level. Like,
He's two-dimensional.
And he never grew up past his tic-tac-toe days. It's, you know,
well,
it parallels what Genesis told Caleb in the last episode about, like, you know, most guys your age are trying to be a man making a life for themselves, but you're dedicated to being a messed up little kid for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. That's what Noose Braca is.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, like, it also is pretty common, like, when people experience trauma or, like, they get stuck in a certain age set, you know, and, like, he literally lost his whole colony and his dad and everything. Yeah. I mean, I know his dad was abusive, but...
everyone but 8 people died.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But so my problem with it was, I think a better big bad for this show would be, like, not just, like, some, like, poor guy from a poor colony who was just, like, a moron and had the wrong idea about whose fault it was who blew up his people. I kind of want it to be just something more relevant to a real-world danger or, like, a real-world problem. I don't think, like, the little impoverished guy who's mad at the people who have the most and thinks they aren't sharing enough. And it's just, well, he's just being too immature. If he really thought about it, he would understand that the people in charge are doing the best they can, and that's that. And all of his grievances are imaginary things that he's mad about. I don't know. It was just like the makings of a lame villain for me. He's one of my least favorite. I don't know, what would you call it? Like a big bad, like a Star Trek big bad, or like a big villain long arc final boss. You know, I thought he kind of had the potential to be something cool, and he's like, I don't know, put him down there with like Osira and the Emerald Chain. Yeah, it's just like the Venari Rawl just turned out to be like another round of Emerald Chain, and ultimately just kind of dissatisfied.
Yeah, I think this was my least favorite Noose Braca episode. I feel like he's actually been kind of scary and intimidating in other episodes.
The Miyazaki episode was his
best one, mm-hmm. Yeah. I think they fumbled his ending for sure.
Well, these are my 2 least favorite episodes of the season, or the first episode and the last episode. So yeah, mm-hmm. It's like Noose Braca did not work on me, I guess. Yeah. I think Paul Giamatti had tons of fun. I would love to go to a Star Trek convention that he's at doing a panel or something. But yeah, just not a character that I have much fondness of, and I'm looking forward to seeing the show post Noose Braca, honestly.
Yeah, same.
Nahla Ake says that the Federation has never fired on civilians, so his story is 100% bullshit. And I like that he kind of pushed back and be like, well, who wrote your history? How can you be sure of that? But
yeah.
I'm kind of mixed on this, because I kind of would like the idea of, you know, what if the Federation, this burn Federation that's kind of messed up, like we've seen like Badmirals before, we've seen bad people in Starfleet, so it's not too outside the box that during the burn, if they would open on civilians that fired at them first, and then having to grapple with that, I think would have been a more interesting story. At the same time, though, as I opened the show talking about how I'm depressed because currently an authoritarian regime takes tax dollars out of my paycheck and uses that money to drop Tomahawk missiles on top of elementary schools in Iran. I would love to live in a society that's never fired on civilians, so I do kind of like that existing in fiction, even if it's not very reflective of reality at the moment. But the Anisha Mir is brought into this mock trial to be the judge and jury, and Judge Nahla Ake as the representative of the Federation and kind of the embodiment of the Federation. And I liked Anisha being so resentful and vindictive. Like, she brings up like some good points about like, oh sure, you put on like this little show about like, this is Starfleet, we don't separate families, I'm gonna resign, but you didn't resign until after you took my kid. You could have done that before. And I was like, that is fair. That is fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Too. And I also liked her being like, and you put all these resources into finding Kayla, but you didn't put any resources into finding me. Like, I think that was a really interesting attack, because it's like you're getting to pick and choose, you know, of what you feel guilty and not guilty about.
Yeah, and then we can talk about the saucer section catching up to the atrium, but you know, when it gets there, there's a little bit more trial scene stuff where Nahla pushes back to Anisha and brings up the pilot who died, who Noose Braca killed, and that was only possible because Anisha stole the schematics that made it possible for them to board that transport ship, and just like putting a name to that dead character who, you know, we've never seen. We don't know anything about him as the audience, but it was a good reveal to have here. You know, they never brought this up until now, but Ake like knew that guy and knew him pretty well. It sounded like they worked together for years, I guess. He was it was a little cheesy that they threw in the like he had a wife and kids, and he was actually like a week away from retirement, because that is tropey as hell. That's like anytime they want us to feel sorry for a dead character, they throw in like and he was just about to retire. This was his last mission. But so I kind of think that they played that up too much. But Holly Hunter is such a good actor. Like, I mean, like when she's saying that, it was like, damn, I feel sad for this imaginary guy, just based on Holly Hunter's delivery. But I kind of like the her framing Anisha as you know, like you made like these big mistakes, and you know that there's consequences to that we have to live with. What we don't have to live with is this asshole over here who, you know, you hitched your wagon to him once before. You said he was your only option, was Noose Braca. No one else was there for you. But, like, let's just be real. He does not have your best interest at heart. Let's get rid of this guy. And I almost kind of feel like that was a moment where the show could have been like, hey, people who supported Trump, you should know by now that he sucks and you shouldn't support him anymore. But the framing his philosophy, Noose Braca's philosophy of you know, oh, we have to hate. There's all this hate in the universe, and we have to hate just as much as anyone else. We have to hate them because it's either us or them. It's either us or the other. So we want it to be us. So we have to take everything from the other and give it to us, and be very asymmetrical about everything because that's how everyone else is going to do. And yeah, and how that's not like a great worldview. The hate will set you free is a wrong view. You're not going to benefit yourself by depriving others, which is honestly like a core element of fascism. You know, like fascism requires an enemy. You have to be at war against someone. So you know, you can't acknowledge the actual social structures. But again, like so much of this just comes from like institutions. Like the institutions at the end of the day. It's hard to talk about this stuff in a Star Trek setting, in this Federation environment where the institutions are supposed to be so much better. When so many of these problems that the shows try to comment on about, you know, in real life, they do come from people who are in power. And, you know, like this, largely, you know, it's not like the system's broken. So the system is working the way it's supposed to be. It's just not working for you or me. It's just working for a few elite people at the top. So it's kind of tricky to translate that into this future setting. That's why I think it was like kind of a missed opportunity. They should have gone with like the sins of the flawed Federation during the burn. I think that would have been a cooler thing to explore than like this misguided moron who somehow built up a following, Noose Brocka. Did not seem as interesting to me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You know, something else I think was a missed opportunity here is having Anisha tied to the Venari role or the mines. I feel like they like set that up where they're gonna be like, oh, she's studied physics, and this lady was like, oh, I recognize you, and then like Noose Brocka like got her out of the Federation rehabilitation center or whatever like 2 years ago, so we know that she was with him at least once when he broke her out.
And then she said she faked her death to escape him.
Yeah,
we were questioning that, but it seems to be true now, right?
Yeah. And I feel like during this trial, it would have been interesting to learn that maybe Anisha had, I don't know, like kind of to learn more about those missing days there. If she did have any involvement with like the physics of the mine, or maybe she didn't want to redo that all again, which is why she ran, and she was like, oh, hell no, that guy killed someone, like last time we worked together and got me into, you know, rehabilitation, so got my kid taken from me. I just feel like that was kind of, I feel like they led up to her being involved some way, and it kind of didn't pan out.
Yeah, we were worried that she was going to have had some role in Noose Brocka's diabolical scheme, but she seems to be innocent of all that stuff, so she could have some role in season 2, that her physics knowledge comes, like, I don't know, maybe she'll become a professor at the academy. I could honestly see that happening. Like, she seems to have like a lot of knowledge, probably a lot of unique knowledge that other Federation instructors would not have, so
True.
But she really does not like Starfleet, so that would also be like, why would she accept that job?
Maybe she would do the field trip instead of like working at the grounds or like on the Athena. Like she takes them to a planet or something and does like kind of how Tilly took the kids to that Class Z planet or whatever.
Oh yeah, all is possible. Star Trek Discovery season 4. Yeah. Well, ultimately, Anisha does decide that Ake is guilty. I think it's because like, oh, you're actually starting to make me feel bad about this pilot who got killed, so I'm just gonna declare you guilty to shut you up. But luckily, the Athena is there, and to buy Sam some time to finish the algorithm, Caleb takes a shuttle over to Noose Brocka's trial and says, like, okay, Noose, you don't want to shut me up in front of all these TV cameras and all the public, right? Like, you're going to let me say my piece, too. You know, you let my mom talk, you're going to let me talk. So he kind of had him by the balls there, and Noose Brocka kind of respected that. Like, oh, that was a good move, kid.
Yeah.
But I liked Caleb's speech here. Like, he explains, like, you know, what he loves about Starfleet, what that institution has meant to him. So yeah, I guess that's my problem here, is like we see like the good guy institutions, and I want to see like bad guy institutions.
Yeah,
I needed that to be balanced out. So okay, by talking it out with you, I think I've cracked the code, what bothered me the most about this trial subplot, but I liked the speech from Caleb. What did he say? Like, his mom told him that the same infinity out in space is within his heart. Like, there's, you know, so much to discover about yourself as there is about the universe. But he said, like, that didn't really, like, make sense until, like, he was in Starfleet. That was the first place he's ever been in his life where he feels like he can really thrive, it sounds
well,
like.
that's the first place he's been where he's not in survival mode full time, too.
Is there a lawnmower outside?
It is. There is a lawnmower. I'll mute.
But it's the first time he's ever had any community. It's the first time he's ever had friends. He says he's laughed more in the last year than he has, like, his entire life. And it's also him telling this to his mom, too, and not just everyone else, but, like, he's making the case to his mom, like, I know you hate Starfleet, but this is what I've gotten out of it. So it was good for her to hear that as well.
Yeah, I also like that he was on channel on the Athena, so he kind of got his apology across to his friends. indirectly. I think they still deserve a face-to-face apology, but I do like that, you know, he tried to apologize to Janice earlier, and she was like, you're wasting your breath and ours. We do still see it.
Well, Noose Braca, I guess, gets pissed off when he loses all of his viewers, but, like, everyone turns on him. Everyone turns off their Fox News, CBS News, Venari Raw propaganda paid for by Larry Ellison. Everyone stops their hollow conference and blips off of the atrium, and so he's like, okay, if I can't get what I want, I'm gonna take all of y'all down, I'll blow up my mines. And he pulls the trigger, but Caleb has bought just enough time that Sam is able to get a 100% stabilization on the Omega particles. And with the mines down, the fleet comes in, and Noose Braca is exposed as a big dumbass who did not know the correct color of Federation weaponry. And all this time he thought it was red fire that was shot down at him. But as Caleb says, oh no, the Federation only uses blue or green weapons for the last few hundred years. Oh, okay, I guess. Like, I didn't.
Yeah. I actually kind of liked that reveal. I kind of liked that reveal of being like, oh, well, Noose was just a kid and he didn't understand what happened. Like, I think that's a good, I mean, like, I think even Paul Giamatti acted so well in that scene, like the, like, surprise and pain and, like, disbelief. It comes across so well. I didn't hate that twist. I think that was pretty well written, and also I guess kind of convenient to keeping the Federation, like, obviously not shooting down a whole civilization.
Well, I liked hearing Caleb call Noose Braca a little fish. I think that was like a good
That was funny. He was like, who's the little fish now?
But I guess that also parallels the theme of Noose Braca is the little kid who never grew up. So this guy who was introduced to us at the beginning of the show, Caleb, you know, we see Caleb as a small child and Noose Braca as a grown man, and then we end the season with the child calling the grown-up the little fish. It's like, oh, I've actually grown up way more than you. You're the infant one. You're the child one between the two of us.
Yeah.
So, but with the cavalry coming in to arrest Noose Braca, and he gets punched a couple times by the ladies. I did kind of like that because he's been so rude to both of them.
Yeah.
I like seeing him getting smacked around a little bit.
Yeah,
But
deserved. He harassed both of them, so. I do kind of wish that their punches were a little. I think Anisha's punch was pretty strong,
she
but
knocked
Nahala's
a tooth out. Yeah, Anisha
yeah, that
knocked
was
a tooth
really
out.
good. I feel like Nahla could have hit a little harder, but that's okay. Oh, I was gonna say, whenever the cavalry comes in, I was really hoping for a Discovery shot there.
Yeah.
But we didn't get one there, which is okay. But I was bummed.
Well, maybe the disco spore jumped in first, and it was like from the other side of the camera's perspective. So it was there, but the camera would just have to swing around 180 degrees for you to see it.
No,
You know?
I wanted to see it.
Like it still could have been there, even if it wasn't on screen. But yeah, it is on screen at near the very, very, very end, right before the end credits. You see it out the window, the Athena. Let's talk about like our ending sequence, though. They take the time to show us the saucer reconnect to the Athena atrium. It's like, oh yeah, that would be kind of unsatisfying to show the saucer separation, but never show them back together. It's like when you open a knife, you're supposed to close the knife instead of leaving it for someone else to close. That's like bad luck is the superstition, to close a knife that someone else opened. I feel like that. Like if you separate the saucer, you have to reconnect it. Mm-hmm. Or else you're Star Trek Generations and you crash the ship. But we learn in this episode that not only is President Rillick still president, she was mentioned in the Venari Roll news ticker. But yeah, Caleb and the other main cadets are going to go have dinner with the president. So
Yeah, that was cute. I like that he was all worried about the forks. He's like, aren't there like 10 forks? They don't cover etiquette till year 2.
yeah, if someone, if I was going to go have dinner with the let's say Claudia Sheinbaum, president of Mexico, that's a president I'd actually feel honored to go have dinner with. I'd feel the pressure. I'd be like, I'm not going to know which fork to use, so I get it. But I made the joke when we were watching this, in that atrium sequence at the end after Ake is joking around to Caleb about dinner with the president, and then her and Anisha, they don't have a conversation where they forgive each other. They just do like a little head nod. And I made the joke, oh, that saved the studio a lot of money because they didn't have to get both of these big, expensive, busy actors on set at the same time when they shot this. So sometimes just doing a little head nod can save you a bunch of money. But I'm so excited for Caleb that he gets this summer to spend with his mom. I'm so happy for him. He's been so worried about finding his mom all this. And I was worried, like, oh, if they find his mom and then she dies, or she turns out to be a bad guy, or something like that. And it's like, no, she's proud of her son. Even though she doesn't like Starfleet, she is very happy for him and is excited to go have a summer together. And I guess the rest of the school is just going to hang out at Beta Z. So
that's what it sounds like. Yeah, I really liked the mom scenes here. And I like too, like, Caleb has 2 moms now. He has Nahla and Anisha.
Yeah. And
there's a summer mom and a school mom.
Yeah. I guess that is how it...
But I also like, too, like, he had talked about in I think it was the 4th episode, how he hoarded food from Earth because, like, he wanted to experience all that with his mom. And then in this episode, we hear that that's where they're going for their vacation, is they're going to go explore Earth together. So it's a good round out, too, for their story. I'm excited that they get to go hang out and experience some easy times instead of these horrible times.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that we won't see that because I'm sure season 2 will open with year 2 begins, you know, and like everyone's gonna be like, oh man, what did you do over the summer? Did you stay at Beta Z? Did you go to Earth? Did you do this? Did you do that? But right after that mom Caleb together on the balcony of the atrium scene, that's when we get our look at Discovery. So first time seeing the USS Discovery since, 2024? Was, I think, when Season 5 aired. So, I liked seeing it. I'm not surprised that we didn't get more than that, because I know that those sets don't exist anymore. Like, the Discovery Bridge is not a thing. It'd be very hard to shoot a scene there. But, who knows? We might get some more disco connections in Season 2. And there's a lot of fun things here, like that very ending there. Like, Caleb does his first log entry, but in addition to that, you see, like, all the friends together. Everyone's getting along. No one is mad at anyone. Like, all of the drama of Season 1 has been resolved. There's that shot of Laura Thok and Jet Reno holding hands. So
I was laughing because it took... I think Jet was, like, trying to grab her hand for, like, a solid 30 seconds before Laura realized it and grabbed her hand. It was really cute.
Yeah, that was cute. Yeah, again, it was, like, another, felt very real. It was, like, a realistic thing. And, we don't see the two of them together enough. Most of the time when we see them, it's one or the other. I like when we see them together. Maybe more of that in Season 2. They're so funny. Mm-hmm. I think it's hard to do scenes of the two of them together, because, like, who do you write as the funny one and who's... Well, I guess, like, you would
make... They're both funny.
But Laura Thok would be, like, the straight man, and then, the irony of
that came out
it,
bad. Don't do that. Just stop.
Okay. the irony of being the straight, and then Jet Reno would be the Costello, the jokey one.
I don't know
serious
this
one. like Bud
but
Abbott and Lou Costello. It's
okay. You don't have to go into it.
He's like.
But you're saying that basically Laura is going to be more steadfast and loud and cranky and funny the way she phrases things, but Jet is more of like humor and sarcasm.
Like Bert and Ernie in Sesame Street. Do you know them?
I know of them.
Okay, it's like a comedy duo that you know.
I don't watch comedy.
Well, but like like a lot of times you have what you call the straight man is like the serious one, and then you have like the goofy one, and then the goofy one does goofy stuff that the other one can react to. So I feel like in this comedy duo, Reno would be the sillier one, and Morothok is the serious one.
Is this like the banana and the orange thing?
Kind of, except that's more of like physical appearance. Like one is tall and skinny, and the other one is short and squat.
Never mind. I'm new here, guys. I don't watch comedy. But I kind of get what you're saying. I think no matter what happens when they write them, it's going to be hilarious, and I'm going to love them, and I want more.
Yeah, so give us more of that, and also more of the Sam and Doctor. I did not get enough of that father-daughter relationship. I'm dying to see more of that, so. Especially after hearing Zoe Steiner on the Star Trek cruise talk about how Bob Picardo is such a fatherly figure to these young actors and all the reverence they have for them. And it's like, oh yeah, let's bring that into the story a little bit. Let's see some of that on screen. But the Doctor is sorted. He's right as rain, as he says at the end of the episode. So got that resolved too. And we get our final needle drop of the season. That I Feel Like a Beautiful Child song.
Oh yeah, that also is a bookend to the first episode. The San Francisco song was also Rufus Wainwright.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, cool singer. Yeah, I this show put him on my radar, but I like his voice. So I complained like they were getting a little carried away with the needle drops this season, but I think they backed off a little bit in the second half of the season. Maybe I don't know. Maybe if I go back and watch it all in one big chunk, I'll feel differently. It's just it's weird to me when they do that too often. It's like I like there to be these traditional scores in my Star Trek show. Like I like getting like new Star Trek music. I want to hear Jeff Russo's score. Like these other songs already exist. The Jeff Russo score is only going to exist if they make it for this. So, but yeah, so sometimes they do work really nicely, and that matched this moment and the vibes and the feels. So even though it was an episode that had a lot of stuff in it I did not like, I got some good stuff with Caleb and his mom's resolution, and I'm curious to see more of that. I'm kind of worried that him having his mom around, like that might change things a little too much in season 2, but I'll have to just wait and see, and have some faith that these writers will do something I like. Just I hope it's not like a big serious arc like Noose Braca that falls flat again. We know that they're doing something big in season 2.
I wouldn't be mad about Genesis's backstory having something to do with the overall arc of season 2 and her dad ending up being a Badmiral. That could be fun. And maybe that's like something that's like in and out throughout the season.
What could be fun?
If Genesis's dad, like if we have her backstory and then her dad ends up being like a Badmiral and he like comes in and out of the season or something in like some of the arc. I want the arc to be more directly related to our kids, like to the cadets. I don't think I want like the overarching like plot issue to be a large scale event that's affecting the whole Federation. Like I want it to be like not low stakes, but like a more in line stakes with the school.
Okay, yeah, something that would be more school centric,
or student centric.
But you know what would what if it's like, hey, if we mess this up, Starfleet might shut down the Athena and the Academy campus, and we have to go back to everyone will be at the War College, or something have something like that as like your end of season stakes, instead of like the whole Federation will be in danger.
Yeah, I'm so sick of that. I'm so sick of the whole Federation being in danger, or this whole, I don't know, thing. I think I want it to be smaller. It seems more believable. Like give these cadets something. I mean, like, I know that they kind of like made it work for this, but like something in their scope.
Well, apologies for any lawnmower noises y'all might still be hearing. I don't really have control over what my neighbor does in his yard, I guess, unfortunately. But that's okay. We don't have much else on this episode to discuss, so I wanted to go over those end credit pictures they had of all the actors from their childhood, and they put some funny details on screen there, so I'd like to just run through this with you, Miss Taylor, if you don't have anything else to say on the episode.
Okie dokie. I'm like have the lawnmower on my side of the house right now, so I'm gonna mute. But yes.
Okay, so just a reminder, we're not going to have a Gorn Egg section of the show right now where we go through the Easter eggs, in jokes, and continuity connections of the episode. But next week, Joel is beaming on board, and we're going to do a show where we go through the Gorn Eggs of all 10 episodes of the season. So we're going to cover all of those then. But I wanted to go ahead and have some fun and kind of celebrate this this first season of the latest Star Trek show by looking at this this fun end credit thing they did with the actors here. So we have the Starfleet Academy graduating class of 3196. Starting with our series lead, the big name up top, number 1 on the call sheet, Holly Hunter as Nahla Ake. And then the caption here, I think it's meant to be like a play on sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug, so just keep flying. It says like sometimes you're the Scotchawaffelus or whatever, that's some weird made up word. Sometimes you're the Kennebug. But the text goes on to say most likely to become a highly decorated admiral, an infamous space outlaw, or both. So,
nice.
I love that.
She's got a long life. She can do both.
But speaking of having a long life, then it says under hopes and dreams, to sleep under every star. She lives long enough, she might actually be able to do that. And then she also says, and to bring back tube socks. So, I don't know. That's, tube socks aren't really, I'm not even real sure what that is, to be honest. That was a joke that didn't do much for me, but maybe it lands different for other people.
Do we know if our actors wrote these, or were they written by the writers?
I assume a writer's assistant wrote them.
Okay. I was just curious.
Well, I know that the writers' room on some of these secret hideout Star Trek shows have helped out in the graphics department for stuff like that before. Is why I say that. So, but who knows? This might have been a little bit more attention went into it. Next one up is Caleb himself, Sandro Rasta, and his text says, I'm not lost, I'm right around the corner from knowing where I am. And then his secret passion, secret skills are, secrets are supposed to be secret, duh. Then it says, wants to be remembered for being the only sentient being to survive the Craig special omelet. Then we go into the next one, Jaden Craig actor Kareem DNA. And his text reads, just because you leave your brain to science doesn't mean science has to take it. Most likely to eventually retire from Starfleet to become a balladeer. Wants to be remembered for his famous unsurvivable Gormagander and chives omelet. That was a fun one. Carice Brooks is up next. Series Acclamation Mill. with the quote, "Why should I be the only one who hears my inner monologue?"
That's a good one for her.
I should start saying that. You know how sometimes I'll just kind of rant and rave and pontificate. And just, why should I be the only one to hear my inner monologue? The rest of the universe should hear this too. Sam is the president, founder, and empress of the CSFC, Captain Sisko Fan Club. Most likely to outlive you all. Oops, that was mean. Was that mean or just a fact?
It was a fact.
Next up is Darum Ramey, George Hawkins, winner of 3198 Prince for a Day contest. It was less than 45 minutes, but still... Oh, I guess he was married for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Most likely to commission a nude of himself. Honestly, kind of makes sense for him. Best spring break, Ryza vacation on planet Darum. What does that even mean? Shouldn't it be Darum vacation on planet Ryza? Darum's kind of a weird
This
guy.
is like a Honey, I Shrink the Kids. And he shrink Ryza.
Maybe. Moving on to Bella Shepherd as Genesis Life. I'm too tired to sleep is her quote. Her secret skill is party DJ. And most likely to is rip an Achilles and never know. So is this, you're like you're a real badass if you rip your Achilles tendon and you're so tough you don't even notice the pain. Next up, Zoe Steiner as Terima Sadal. Her quote is, "Occam, you're thinking too loud." Little Betazoid humor. Most likely to accidentally lose Caleb in an alternate universe during a long weekend. Oh, okay. It seems a little odd, but is that something that's going to happen in season 2? Is that something that's going to happen like over the summer that they reference when they get back for season 2? Personal motto: 3-day weekends are a day too long. So, is that because you lose Caleb on a 3-day weekend?
I don't agree with that.
You know, these pictures of these actors as kids are pretty cute, by the way.
Yeah.
Oded Fair as Charles Vance. It says, "Don't call me Vancy Pants. I'm just a regular guy." So, Joel has been calling the Admiral Vancy Pants.
That's good.
Nova Squadron desired nickname is Hellraiser, but his Nova Squadron actually nickname is Vancy Pants. So, was there ever a Nova Squadron in the 32nd century that Admiral Vance was part of?
He wanted there to be.
Yeah, and he wanted his nickname
He's like,
to be Hellraiser.
The Nova Squadron is just me.
Next up, Gina Yashere as Laura Thok. The dance floor is my battlefield. The kitchen is my dance floor. That's a cool quote. I like that. Nice.
So is the kitchen her battlefield?
No, the kitchen is her dance floor.
But the dance floor is my battlefield.
Yeah. But the kitchen's not a dance floor. It's a dance floor. The kitchen's not a battlefield. It's a dance floor. I don't know. You're overthinking it.
No. You're underthinking it. Just
Why
kidding.
not both? It could be both. Most proud of defenestrating 3 opponents at a Tongo tournament. Most likely to be the first one to show up at a party, especially if she wasn't invited. Okay. I don't know if that's Laura Thok or Gina Yashere. Laura Thok doesn't seem likely to show up at a party uninvited, but who knows. Britt Marling is the Athena's computer. Her quote is, "What jackass keeps programming me to helium?" It's giving the computer a squeaky, high-pitched voice. "If I weren't a ship, I would be a tricorder. They have it so easy." That's an interesting thing for a ship to think. Number 1 fear is laryngitis, but let's go to Stephen Colbert as the digital dean of students. He says in another life, he would be wearing a jaunty chapeau, what's that word? Chapeau. It's a French word, so I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. See, Jill, I mispronounced a lot of stuff. It's a hat or a cap. Chapeau. Chapeau. Okay. In another life would be wearing a jaunty chapeau. Most likely to have an existential crisis. Number one wish is laryngitis. So I guess he's tired of doing the lame jokes. Yeah, the Talaxian fur fly is mating with itself. I feel like the Talaxian fur fly has jumped the shark. Just the next one should be specialist cribs. Your Talaxian fur fly has jumped the Horta, and then just drop it. Just don't make it a thing after that. You can have like a different gag in season 2. Then we get Tig Notaro as Jet Reno. Number one peeve. Why do I come after the two voices? Fair question. Wants to be remembered as I don't. Leave me alone. Take your questions and go away. So that was Jet Reno's answer to the question what she wants to be remembered as. I don't. Leave me alone. Take your questions and go away. I like that one. And then Robert Picardo as the Doctor. His childhood picture really cracks me up with the pudgy cheeks. It's like not at all how I would picture him, but then when I look at him, I totally see him there.
Yeah.
Like this guy who's been like a bald old man like all of my life. It's funny to see him as a little kid. Biggest fear, a nickname in another life would be the actor, and he's most proud of Sam. So no nickname for the Doctor as of the 32nd century in this timeline. And a special guest star, Tatiana Maslany as Anisha Mir. I can say her name when I see it in front of me.
Yeah, it's for some reason
I need
her last name gets all jumbled up for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because it's probably because when you're trying to say her name, you think so hard about the first name that you say it, and then you get to the last name, and you're like, oh shit, what was this one again? But anyways, Tatiana Maslany says, in another life would be, there are no other lives, make this one count. Wow, profound, I like that. Most likely to show up for Parents' Weekend a week early and pretend she did it on purpose. So I guess she would just like show up and wait for a week. And most proud of, do you really have to ask? And yeah, we just heard her tell Caleb how proud she was, so we know. Yeah, I don't know if these are the actors or the characters. We're kind of fusing them and combining them, it kind of sounds like. I think there's one more, though. Special guest star Paul Giamatti as Noose Braca. I'm actually a marshmallow on the inside. Would you be my graham crackers? And he's most likely to release an acoustic album, songs in the key of Braca, Biggest Wish, a do-over, and also a makeover.
Nice.
Yeah, I suppose. But that's all we got for this season of Starfleet Academy. I had a lot of fun discussing a new Star Trek show with Taylor. This is the first time we've had you on board for a new season of a new show as it was coming out. And it turned out to be like the first season of a new show, so you got to be part of the Starfleet Academy fandom from the ground floor. And it was also, kind of interesting to see how the fandom reacted to the show. I'm so less involved and so less active on the Star Trek social medias. It really, I don't know. It was just it was really interesting to see the culture war aspect of this and all of the unfair hate the show got.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes me feel like, man, like I kind of chose a good time to become a little bit more isolated and I don't know, I kind of feel like I've retreated into hiding and just I can put content out there, but I don't have to like dig around and absorb all this other stuff, because a lot of the discourse has been a bit disappointing. But I'm glad that we have a cool audience that shows up on Fridays and participate in the live chat and give us their opinions too. And also everyone else who listens or watches us later, thank you so much. It's very appreciated. all y'all who listen, there's people who've been listening to the show for years, and like they never comment. And I'm talking to you, and I'm saying thank you for going on yet another season adventure with us. I appreciate having you on board. So, Taylor, I guess we should talk a little bit about what we're doing tonight. Now that we're done with our Star Trek stuff. But we're going to be live in like 2 hours on the other Star franchise talking about some Clone Wars. People, if y'all have heard us talk about Star Trek enough and you want to hear us talk about some Star Wars, no one really cares about Clone Wars. That's what I like. The people who like really like Star Trek but also really like Star Wars, like even the people who like they watched all the Lower Decks and Prodigy, they don't have any interest in the Star Wars animated stuff. They're like, what, Clone Wars, 133 episodes? I don't have time for that. So, but
there's some good stuff in there.
No, there is. And we're going to get into some more live action stuff soon with Andor and the original trilogy and all of the post-original trilogy shows like Mandalorian and Ahsoka and all of that stuff. So, I'm looking forward to revisiting some. We're talking some Clone Wars season 3 and season 4. So we have like the Mortis arc, like the one that with like the Force gods that a lot of people hate and I guess a lot of people love, but there's a lot of strong opinions on it. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about Darth Maul's brother, Savage Opress. See, if you don't watch the cartoons, you don't even know Darth Maul has a brother. But yes, he does, and we talk about that. He's actually a way cooler character, if you ask me. And
I get it.
And the Water War, the Quarren and Mon Cala. Yeah, but like these Trek nerds, like they're like, man, I don't know Star Wars aliens. I don't know what Fatheree is talking about. He's losing me. So I'll shut up. But if you are into that stuff, that will be streaming live later tonight in about 2 hours. And otherwise though, we will be live again next week, Friday, at our usual time, discussing the Gorn eggs of Star Trek Starfleet Academy Season 1. And after that, we're going to be doing some backtracking retrospectives on episodes that I think were particularly relevant to the season of Starfleet Academy. So I'm thinking some Voyager episodes, some TNG episodes. Definitely got to get real life, the Omega Directive, and I don't know, maybe Data's Day. I think it'd be fun to revisit Data's Day. The series Acclamation Mill episode makes me want to revisit Data's Day. So maybe we'll have some TNG in there, some Voyager in there. If there's other episodes that we should cover soon, y'all let me know. Because I have a lot of fun with the backtracking retrospectives. Taylor has a lot of fun with those. And a lot of people in the audience showed up for those last year. So we definitely want to do more of them this year. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Jill's excited for a Data's Day backtracking retrospective. So yeah, we definitely got to get to that one. So yeah, Data's Day will be fast-tracked, guaranteed soon. So I don't know when, but I don't know. Probably the spring. Definitely before Strange New Worlds gets here. But yeah, we have another season of Strange New Worlds to talk about this year. Oh, we might like it more than season 3, or we might like it less. We just have to wait a few months and find out. But we will be covering a lot of episodes leading up into Strange New Worlds season 4, and then next year we have like a whole nother season of Academy to talk about, unless Larry Ellison buries it for a tax write-off. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen. I don't think it will. But
I don't think it will either.
You never know. Just hedging my bets. It's like I gotta say, like, hey, what if Genesis is revealed as a villain before the end of the season? I just have to get that on record so that if it does turn out to happen, is be like, see, I predicted it, and then it doesn't happen. I bring it up anyways. But yeah, we'll be back in 2 hours on the other Star franchise and back on Tex-Trek in 1 week. And until next time, as always, I need to change my outro video. Okay, give me 1 second. Here we go. Beauties of doing things live. Until next time, as always, live long and prosper, y'all.
Subscribe to YouTube to watch the Tex-Trek podcast live or listen to us later on your favorite podcast platform. Follow Stephen Fatheree on socials at TXTrek. Thank you and take care.